Okay, guys, so I'll wait for a few minutes. Hopefully, you guys can get this. Let's see, the other one went away. Oh, okay, we got Shelly there. Can you hear me, Shell? Great. Now, how do I find the rest of us? Okay, we got Rockstar there. Great. Shelly and Rockstar. Okay, and everything sounds good. Boy, I hate to do that because I don't want to waste your time. Jeff's back. Okay. Who else we have? Where's Loyal One? Where's Patricia? Okay, so I'll keep going. Is this boring you guys, the whole thing? And you're going to have to put your questions again because when I lost that stream, I lost everything. And I'll wait for Vi because I know that she had a question about the med beds. So let's do a little bit more of the news, and then hopefully we'll get a few more people on there. Okay, and then guys, put your questions on if you have some because we'll get to those. But you have to repeat it. All right. So anyway, so Minnesota, good. Okay, Vi, put your question again, sweetheart. All right, so the Minnesota, 46.6 million of them. Hi, Patricia, you found us. Great. There's ongoing prosecutions too, which are later stages of some of the prior investigations. On June 4th, 2026, the Healthcare Fraud Unit announced 6 trial convictions. So some of these people are fighting it. They're going to trial, but many have pled guilty. And it's involving over 1.1 billion in fraud losses that are about to occur in the courts in 5 different districts, from large-scale telehealth. Now, what a shock that is. Could anybody have guessed that telehealth was going to cause some fraud? And then it's in Botox billing, home health kickbacks, which is a real big problem, substance abuse clinics. They're even stealing from the opioid distribution programs, which I never agreed with, and physical therapy rings. So lots going on. In that investigation, 9 convictions have been achieved so far in 2026 and 17 in 2025. Okay, great. I know it is great news, isn't it, Patricia? People need to know that there's so much going on, so much that, and it's not only here. I had someone make a comment that somebody was just convicted in Sweden. Not Sweden, Finland, because he made a comment on social media about some foreigners or something, illegals, and they jailed that person instead of the illegals. So the whole world's got to come. And do we have our beautiful Vixen here? She hasn't found us yet, but she'll be coming up. Okay, so they charged 194 defendants, alleging more than 15 billion in healthcare fraud losses. In that one, the overall fraud section has charged 265 defendants with an aggregate estimate of $16 billion. And these people that complain about Trump in this dining room in this airplane that isn't costing us, he's getting a lot of the airplane cost for retrofits and security, but that's average. You know, I mean, it's much less than billions. It was in the millions. And the last new plane that we did get was several, I want to say 6 billion or something that Bush authorized, was it? So, Den says new president of Colombia. Cool. And you're there, Vixen. Great. Okay. We were just talking about somebody in Finland was telling me that they just had somebody arrested for what they posted on social media about all of these illegal aliens. And it was an older report, but it was confirmed that it's still going on. So yes, we are on a winning streak, Shelley. It's finally over. For those of you like me who have known this for years, of all of this stuff. And finally, I mean, I was as a teen, I was the one with the signs. I was the protester because I knew our elections were all rigged back then. So for me, it's been a long time coming. All right, so the infrastructure and strike force has expanded. Remember when Kash Patel took all of those people out of DC, where Comey and the rest of them were cooking up all of their crimes, and he dispersed them in the field? Well, of course uh, I have to. Some of these things aren't going on. Of course, they had to disperse them into the field. What good are they doing sitting in Washington, D.C.? You need to be out there, you need to be driving around, you need to be investigating, and you need to be local to be able to conduct one. Yes, Vi, let me answer you before. We are on target, but I don't know where you heard August. We hoped it might be August, but I haven't seen that yet. And from my standpoint, these arrests have got to go down. When there's going to be, and I know someone on social media is saying that they're already being released this week and stuff like that. I have absolutely no intelligence related to that. It doesn't make sense to me, because until these people are out of our government, they could infiltrate our med beds like they've infiltrated everything else. So I believe that when we see lockdowns, we're going to be put in lockdown. And this was told years ago, that there would be an EBS, remember the EBS announcement? And that all communications would be shut off. And every time my internet connection goes down, I think, oh, it's the EBS. And Tim and I have been stocked up with food and so forth. But during that period, there's supposed to be 3 separate videos that will be played over and over again. The EBS will take control of all of our media, and all we will have access to are these announcements that we're supposed to hear, which med beds will be one of them. And they're going to expose to the people everything that's been done. Now, some people have said that there will also be executions live, if you want to see them, of some of these people. I can't confirm that. I would think that that's very traumatic, and I wouldn't put too much money on that one. But so until we see that EBS and the lockdown, I just don't see that the general population getting the med beds. And until we see the arrest, that's what's going to happen. The way Q told it was that the mass arrests, the storm, will happen after the mass arrests happen, and that will likely be during the lockdown period as well. So there's going to be a storm of arrests. We'll be in lockdown. Don't worry, guys. It's really a good thing. And that's when you're supposed to be given information about the appointments. No one person here or anywhere else is been authorized to announce med beds. So just keep that in mind. You're going to know, and you're not going to miss it when it happens. So I hope that did that answer that? Yeah, Vixen. I know it was Vi that asked if they were still due in August. Who said it? I don't know. I know that there was hope. There were some signals that are supposed to happen. And Q marked something one time, but it never said med beds. I believed it was more going to be the storm of arrests that are happening, and that will happen in August. Susan also, she has her own connections, and she seems to think it will be next year. The thing that worries me is what happened with Dan and everything. These people are fighting really hard, guys, to stop all this. I'm going to be, let's see, I heard the same, no med beds until people are arrested. Thank you, Patricia. I'm glad that you did. The commenting on Facebook and social media leading to arrest have happened in England. Great. And Sweden as well. We had, I mean, the big guys, was this the big guys, Vixen? We had an old lady put to trial for baking cupcakes and selling them on Facebook. Can you believe this insanity? They're fighting hard. Jeff says he doesn't think anything's going to happen this year, more like mid-28. That's possibility, but, you know, and this is only gut. I don't have any intelligence on this, but I'm thinking next year. I'm thinking it's going to be next year. Things are happening really faster than many of us expected. I know we all wanted a magic wand to go poof, but a lot has to be done to clean this up. And I think there's a strong possibility it could be in 2027. It could even be the end of this year. Remember, they're not going to telescope this. They're never going to tell us ahead of time. So we don't have any idea. All we can do is sit and work on ourselves. Because what I can tell you is that I feel very strongly from my research on the med beds and on the brain that if we can reach coherent states, that our healing with the beds are going to be much more effective, faster, and stronger. Because what has to happen is that bed's going to project a frequency that is a dominant frequency, and then our brain has this ability to follow that frequency, and it's our body. It's kind of like a tuning fork. I don't know if I've published this video yet, but I might have just done this one. I work on bunches of them at a time. But the med beds are more like a frequency to align us. Yes, it was in that most recent one on the codes that we talked about. So the med beds are going to send out that healing frequency to all of the parts of the morphic field that it needs to go to align with that healing is what it's beginning to look like. So from that standpoint, it could happen at any time, but it's not going to be telescoped. And what we can do, the best thing we can do right now, in my personal opinion, and this is what I'm working on, is clean our bodies, stop eating the poisons, make it easy for your body, help it out a little bit if we're going to heal. And also begin coherency practices. There's many ways to do it. There's all kinds of sounds. I have a music playlist that will help if you can afford the gateway experience. That seems to be a very effective method. But if you guys want to know about that, we could start doing some videos on that. But that's what I would like you guys to see. All right, let's see what we got. We got a lot going on here. Okay, so Shelly says Sky Prince put it out. Okay, that's the answer to the question. We all know Sky has put many things out. I'm not saying she's a bad person, because I've done a lot of research on her as well. I have a whole thing. I don't want to trash the woman, because I don't. The way you grow is not by pushing other people down. I think that she channels her information, and I believe she's channeling from dark forces. So so that's why if Sky said it, no, I wouldn't count on it, guys. She's been wrong a whole lot of times, and I can't make a decision whether she's trying to help mankind or what. But no, that's why I was wondering. I said, I hope I didn't say that in August, because I can't ever remember saying that. And I think it's cruel. I think it's cruel to keep doing that over and over again to people. They get excited. She told people to quit their jobs so that people wouldn't notice when they walked in 20 years, looking 20 years younger and walking with new limbs and stuff. It's not going to be like that, guys. It's going to be wonderful. It's going to be absolutely wonderful. And I want to tell you guys too, I'm going to be releasing some communications that I've had with Dan Willis over the last couple of years. And in the very beginning, this is how Dan and I met, was about the med beds. He approached me, and I have some information, some emails that we discussed the med beds, and he confirmed some information that I put out on my videos. And so you're going to be getting a lot of emails and videos. I'm going to be putting them out between Dan and I, and I'm honored to do this. Of course, I can still only give certain information. There was information that I was told not to release. Nothing critical, just things that that just were private and things he was very proud of. So that's coming. Let's see. Vixen says Facebook leading to arrest happened. Okay, we got that one. Shelly, with all Dan and personally saw. Okay, so I missed. Oh, okay. I know Sky Prince put it out. Okay, ex-pharmacist, with all Dan knew and personally saw. I can't believe they wouldn't save him with a med bed. I actually found out about them from you. Oh, I'm so glad, Shelly. Thank you. Here's my thoughts on this. And I'm glad this is alive, because I don't want to put it out on one of the other ones. This is between us. And yes, you can get them, but they don't get as much of an exposure as the regular videos do. But Dan was a very devout vegan, mostly raw, and he had a neurological liver cancer that started in January, just when his communications got. And this is how great this man was. I would email him, and he was always so forthcoming in everything he told me, and we had long talks. And in January is when his communications got short, and he would say, working on this or working on that. He never told me he had the cancer. But then I found out from his wife, Rebecca, that he was diagnosed in January, and they spent a lot of time at doctors and so forth. So regarding Dan, I looked up the particular type of cancer, and it is very possible. They don't know how it's caused. No vegan has ever been reported as having that, suffering from that before. And in fact, not even a vegetarian, but there's very small samples on it. And personally, there is evidence that electromagnetic pulses can cause it. And I was told the same thing by my vet about my little doggie's cancer years ago, 2.5 years ago. So I personally believe he was hit with an EMF. Why didn't they use a med bed? It's not like that. It's not like certain people are going to use them. And another option too, let me tell you about this, is that Dan shared with me one time that his team had secured the core of the Frill energy generator. It hasn't been scaled, okay? What he told me was they had they figured it out, they perfected it, then they had to protect it from reverse engineering, from deep state people. And they did. They secured the core, but then it had to be scaled. And obviously it never got scaled, but he has a team that is working on it. And I often wonder if Dan wasn't called, because he was in close contact with Janhan Iridian, and I often wonder if he wasn't called and his job here was over and he went on to save other worlds with this technology that he's been working on. So they don't just... Things aren't always as they seem. And yeah, I would have loved more than anything for him to be put in a bed, but that's not how it works. That's not how it works, sadly. It's fair. Let's put it that way. It's fair. Okay, so I'm going to put my glasses on because I'm looking a little blurred here. So excuse me. Patricia said, yes, this information needs to be protected. There's a mission and they need to dot their I's. Patricia, you so get it. And when I got you, you were a broken woman when you first came to our channel, and you amaze me every day. The pictures of Don with tall whites, AI or real? I did catch that, Vixen. And what it was is there were, it was during the Norwegian president, and I saw during him. And yeah, there were a lot of people that, of course, if you've ever met a Norwegian, which I know you probably have, because you guys are very light too, but they were fair people. I saw the original pictures of it, and that's BS. They weren't the Nordics that were with him talking. So more deep state lies to just confuse us and mess us up. So no, I don't believe that was real at all. And I did have Grok run it, and it did find artifacts of it being AI. Could the EBS project the frequency? Dan, I need a clarification on that. Who's Judy By? I know who Judy is, but not sure why you said that, Jeff. Could the EBS project the frequency? That's a good question. It's my understanding is that no, it won't be done in the EBS. That's being set up with all the Musk satellites and stuff like that. And there's actually a system that we have that I did a video on a while ago that has been being retrofitted across the world for this announcement. So no, I don't think it's going to be a direct energy pulse of any kind that's going to harm us. NDA should cover the doubt. Well, the thing is on that, Tony. Oh, hi, Tony. Good to meet you. The thing about NDAs is the NDAs are for people that are already there. I know that Sky was telling people that everybody's going to sign an NDA. No, I don't believe. I've never heard that. It's logistically not possible for the entire world to sign NDAs This isn't going to be quiet like that. Yes, there's people that have done it, that are working with it, and it's appropriate, but I believe that's a very small number of people. Yeah, Shelley. Yeah, I believe she is channeling misinformation. She's talked about grays. So is this man Stacy that I saw one time talking to grays. Grays are hive minds. They basically go with who's controlling them, and very much like the population of people that we see that are just clueless. They're hive minds. They listen to what they hear, they do what they hear, and they have their marching orders. So yeah, I do believe she's channeling dark, and it's a sad thing. I hope to God that she is safe. Let's just put it that way. Yes, Patricia, there needs to be a sequence of events, and we need to honor that. You're right. Gene Decode said that med beds will be this fall. Well, I'll tell you what, Susan. Hi, Susan. You're new to me. I haven't met you before. I respect Gene immensely. And if Gene says it will be this fall, it's more credibility than I've seen in the past. Problem is, there are some people that Gene is aligned with that I'm just up in the air with about. And so Gene is a really smart man. But what you guys have to understand is that every single day, the dark ones buy, control, flip somebody else, whether it's with their past, whether it's with something they set them up with, whether it's with money. We don't know. But we know that every day, and a couple of you I've told about some, in private conversations, I've told about a couple people that Dan advised me not to expose, but they are flipping really, really legends in the UFO community to the dark side. So just be aware of that. Let's see. So Gene, but that's promising if Gene said it'll be this fall. And that's kind of what I'm thinking could be the earliest too, is later on this year. Yeah, I know. Vixen says Gene said that. Everybody knows him. Patricia says, on his 2024 presentation, I think he was suffering then. Please watch it. It was a great video. Who, Dan? No, Dan got this in January. I've met Dan, and Dan is a contemplative, calm being. And just because he's not animated or anything like that, I'll look at the video, but no. I don't think Dan was sick back in 2024 at all. I met him then, and no, I don't think so. I know, I love Gene too. Military first. Yes, Jeff, you're right. Military first. And it's not all military, is my understanding. It's the secret soldiers and some military. There's a priority. There's children that have just been through. And what I can tell you, what I believe, because I got it from people that I rely on, is that there are, not that I rely on, but that I respect their opinion. Let's put it that way. There are already secret soldiers who have used the med beds. We know that, right? And there are already children being rescued in the med beds and treated. They're being taken off planet to protect them, was what Melanie Cheris told us. And she's one of those people that do it. And they're being taken off. Now, I want you to understand, guys, too, everything isn't physical. When we talk about going here and going there and traveling in space and time travel and all this is an energetic presence. It's the consciousness, not the physical body. So we need to begin, and I worked really hard on this a number of years. We need to begin identifying as the energy within us and not the physical body. And many of you have heard the salutation of Namaste. What that means to me, and of course there's going to be a lot of interpretations, but what that means to me, and what I've always believed it and used it as breaking through the illusion of physicality. Namaste to me means that the spirit inside me recognizes and respects the spirit inside you. So it's cutting through the physical. When we learn to begin to identify with that God energy that is within us, that's when things really change a lot. And sometimes we're still going to have problems. Life isn't going to be perfect, but they're all evolution to help us learn. So, just when we say they're being rescued and they're taken off world, this may be energetic. We don't know. What she did say, though, on the children, Melanie said that these kids were being moved from ship to ship. So in that aspect, yes, physically. And also, Elena said something one time, and I assumed that she had done something energetically. She had gone onto the battleship where no, I'm sorry. It was where she had actually gone to visit the High Council of the Federation. And Dan corrected me and he said it wasn't energetic, it was physical. So it is possible to move physically, but a lot will be done energetically too. As far as the jabbed victims, that's a new one, but I respect Judy also, Jeff. So that is very possible, and I pray, I really pray that the jab victims do. But from a standpoint, yes. By the way, Vixen, the Prince of the Sky is sometimes called Lucifer. So again, it's all words. It doesn't make it real. Okay, we protect ourselves, but the jabbed victims, I don't know, because there are people that are terminal. My sister's one of them, and those people have longer than many of the jabbed victims have. So I don't know. I'm not privy. I'm not part of it. I don't purport to be in all of this and stuff, but being in the planning of them, and I think very few people actually are. But whether the jab victims will come right after the children, I can't confirm that. Let's put it that way. Byington, not the dates, just drips of information. Yeah. I don't know if you know it, but Judy Byington was, she's an expert in satanic trauma. And I have watched her for years, and she misses a lot, okay? She reports things over and over again that are wrong also. But I believe it's just the sources she's pulling them from, and her heart is right. Some of us want this to happen so badly that when we see something, we're just so excited and we disseminate it. For me, because of my background, I guess, it's become very important to confirm everything. My life, I was drawn into a life because of lies. And I woke up from it, and it was good people, everybody. Become a pharmacist, Spirit, become a doctor, become all this stuff. So for me, I don't say something unless I can confirm it. I've learned that bit of it. Let's see. Sorry about your pup. It turned out good, Vixen. She battled cancer, and she's the reason I started this channel. So that you guys understand, you've heard about 3D, 4D, 5D. And somewhere I learned that 4D is often a state of great chaos. You're feeling emotive, you're feeling connected, but you're feeling great pain sometimes. And often 4D propels us into 5D. And I believe that did that for me. The loss of my little Miss Tilly, she's the one I put up with the little purple hat. She was a beautiful little doggy, not old enough, in my opinion. She was only 9, I think, when she died, maybe 10. But that was my 4D 10-year period, actually, because I lost my mom. I lost my entire family to a lot of, except my daughter, who stuck with me. But I lost a lot during that 10-year period where I literally wanted to off myself. Thank heaven I didn't. And Tim's the one that came to my life. Together, we suffered the loss of Miss Tilly together, and we worked so hard. She was given 30 days, and we got 5 years out of her and her fighting. And so that what did it, and what finally was the straw that broke the camel's back and pushed her out of remission, was a rabies shot that I did not only did I not authorize it, but I had an exemption from her oncologist. They gave her it without my knowing, and it's the one. She never came back out of it, in spite of all of the ivermectin that I gave her and the fenbendazole and stuff. So sometimes horrible things, guys, bad times, are what's going to propel you to the next vibrational level. Just keep that one in mind from experience. Please, Spirit, go back later on. I think he was being exposed to something, just my feeling. He was extremely dehydrated. I was worried. Okay, I will go back there. I will go back there. And he's been in this deal for a long time, so nothing would surprise me. IBD, what would your guess be on when the med beds would come out? How do you figure they might roll out with specifics? Well, military and elderly first. And we just kind of went through that. Military, the abused children, and elderly with critical illnesses was what I heard. We don't have a time frame, but when that will happen, just in case, I'll just reiterate this. You're going to go into lockdown first. Before that happens has always been my understanding. And actually, Susan told me she felt the lockdown was coming very quick. Her sources were telling her that it should be soon. So stock up on all the good stuff. Get ready to party, because when those lockdowns happen, don't be mad. It's going to be time off from work, and our life is going to change dramatically. So do we have a time on that? No. Just look for those lockdowns. And at the same time, there's going to be a arrest of all these demons. And one thing that supports that is the arrest of Fauci's right-hand man, so to speak, that was in NIH. If you guys want me to tell you about that, I can, but there was just a recent bust indictment of the guy who was in charge in a foreign national, two of them, who were working in NIH in, was it the Rocky Mountain Labs or somewhere? I think it was Rocky Mountain, on the gain of function research on COVID. They've just been busted. So you know they're going to sing big time and bring down Fauci and this Deborah Birx, who will probably sing as well. So look for those things first, IBD. And quantum technology that the White House posted, wasn't that great? In case you guys haven't heard, President Trump just signed an executive order to start advancing quantum technologies. And he spoke about the computer aspect of it, because the computers, the quantum computers, which, by the way, YouTube, when I did one of these about maybe 8 months ago on the quantum computers, YouTube completely refused to upload it. Not only was it shadow banned, it was denied. And now President Trump's coming out about it. So what happens is the quantum technology is going to provide, from what I saw, an almost uncrackable security. It's going to be used in banks, and it has to do with two particles that connect in different locations. Could be Geneva and me in this location. These two particles communicate, and that people on each end, the bank will have a key and you will have a key, and nobody can breach that quantum cryptography. And so Trump was talking about cryptography on that meeting about the quantum computers. Once we go quantum, guys, it all comes about. I don't think we have necessarily finished the development on a whole lot of technologies, but that's when it breaks open, when we finally figure it out and we have mentors in the unseen realm, at least right now, that are guiding our scientists. And it's more than the unseen. They're working underground with our scientists to help us side by side. So that's my thoughts on it. I was dancing the happy dance, IBD, because that tells me that he's finally breaching the quantum technology secret, and he's telling people to start going for it. Okay, Jeff, they should be less. They chose to take the jab. Yeah, I understand, Jeff, and I understand your situation. You've had a hard time and you've busted your butt trying to keep your head above water. I understand that. They should go in front of people who didn't take it. They are picking and choosing who goes. Yes, in the end, everyone will see a med bed by then, most. Let me just say this, Jeff. You know, it's so easy. We all, oh, wait, elderly will die off. A lot of us won't see this happen. Wake up. This movie can play out for another 10. It's not. I really think you're wrong there. Yes, Tony, TDS is very real. And I'm wondering if there's not going to be some subliminal programming to help these people. Let's just put it that way. What I see is our administration is using the same weapons that they used to brainwash us against us. And to get back to you, Jeff, yes, they did choose to take it, but you have to understand that they were brainwashed, okay? All we knew from the time some of these people grew up was the doctors are gods. That's all they knew. And then we had unscrupulous doctors who either wanted to keep paying for their, oceanfront home, or I can't believe no doctor realized how bad that all was. I just can't believe that. Not an MD or a DO. I have a hard time believing, because I picked it up in a second what was going on. So these people believed, they had trusted people. It's kind of like, imagine if I trusted Dan as much as I did, and all of a sudden I find out that he was dark. The devil wears many costumes, okay? And all of these people that they were trusted, they were going to lose their job. Now, my stepsister refused it. Her and her husband, they lost their longtime government jobs, and they have depleted every dime they have. So, but they knew better, because they were smart, and I kept telling them. She would ask me, and I would say, no. A lot of people didn't. So try not to blame them. Yes, even the ones that were, oh, you're killing us. That's what was being programmed repetitively over and over and over again on that. And Jeff, I honestly think that they're not going to be as long as you think. I can't give you a date, of course, but I don't think it's going to be that long. Let's see. The elderly will die of. Okay, no, it's not going to be 10 to 15 years. I don't think so. In fact, I'll tell you what, if I were a betting person, I'd bet money on the fact that it's not going to be 10 to 15 years. And the reason I tell you this is because numerous sources that I trust have used remote viewing and a technology called the looking glass. These are technologies that we don't know about, but or they don't tell us about, but all of these point to 2030, and the shift will be essentially complete. So I expect them definitely to be before then, and hopefully sooner. It's not going to be 15 years. I doubt it. Okay, Vixen. I'd be happy to let the vaccinated go before me. Stupidity before smart, as the Swedes say. That's a good one. That's a really good one, Vixen. The same with me. If somebody has taken that damn thing and they're a good person, to me, it's all about the energy inside, and are these good people or bad people? Did they make mistakes? Yeah, they did, and they're going to pay for it. They probably already are. So they're paying. No, Jeff, she wasn't calling you stupid. Unless you told me you didn't get the jab, didn't you, Jeff? She's saying that these people weren't bright enough to be able to discern that they were being brainwashed and lied to at the time. And so for that reason, she said, and plus they're going to have their own issues as well. And I don't think, let's put it this way, I don't think the fact that they were forced to violate their bodies in such a horrible way should necessarily be a contributing factor to whether they be put to the back of the line. 30 days, got 5 years. What a blessing. How long do you think the lockdown will last? We were told that the lockdown would be 10 days is what Q never said that, but we always heard about the 10 days of darkness, and it was almost assumed that the 10 days of darkness meant the communication blackout. So I'm expecting up to 10 days. Tim and I have had food for years. We eat it, but pasta doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't spoil. stock up on some food. We have a Berkey filter that we use that we could actually take pool water, canal water, rainwater, anything. And well, rainwater, well, no, I wouldn't drink it without filtering it these days, but you just put it through the Berkey, and it's a great system, and it does remove plastics as well. Let's see. So I would say the lockdown is going to last about 10 days. Vixen said the vaccinated are really sick and I'm surviving, but with other problems, so they could go before moi. I know you need them too, Vixen. I know you do, and it's really selfless of you, sweetheart. Shelley, there were a lot of people, who were forced to keep their jobs to get the jab. I refuse to judge. Smart lady. Also, not sure if you, this is IBD, said, if you saw my comment on the other thread. I lost a lot of them, IBD. I feel close to you, yet I did see that one, and I held my heart to you. I don't know if you felt it, but when I read that, the feed was down, and I went like this to give you some love. And, that's the thing. I feel so close to all of you guys, like it's family. Loyal One said that to me one time, is that he considers me family, and I consider every one of you family. When my own family wanted to institutionalize me and call me crazy and left me to die, basically, some of them did, when I was so sick. You guys are there for me, and you feed my soul. You give me the strength to go on every single day. And this is a really special group of people. We never have nasties here. Even when people are angry, they're kind. And it is very special, IBD. And I thank you for telling me that. We are soul family. Happy to see you doing lives. I was so scared. I was petrified because of, you can see I'm a blabber, and I've done a lot of public speaking, but because I've had threats on my life from perps that I worked before, the person that did it still has two children that are, one was very young and then one was in her 20s, and they're still alive, and their father is gone. That was the perp, and that threatened me many times. But I was afraid, and I'm glad now. I just have to let the universe protect me. Let's see. Okay, so Helen also says she don't think the shot should be a consideration, and I agree. And then, of course, Jeff says they chose to because they were led to believe the false narrative, and they are still getting the boosters. What does that tell you? Some are getting the boosters. On the other hand, a whole lot aren't. A whole lot aren't. And I don't want to say they're stupid, because they're not. Some of them are educated people, but they're not educated in the right disciplines. Maybe they're, I don't know what they're educated in, but maybe they're just not educated in the right disciplines, and they are surrounded. Their sphere of influence is, the jab. I was in the store and I saw people with the masks on again. And I'm like, I cannot even believe this, that, they're still wearing the masks now again because of the monkeypox, or what's the other one? You're right. They're not, let's put it this way. They may not be book stupid. They may be very book smart, but as far as that intuition, they don't have it. Okay. If they did, they would not be taking these things, and they would break through that programming, but they simply don't have the intuition and that connection. People are anxiously waiting for the lockdowns, Patricia said. Quantum entanglement. Thank you, Dan. Sometimes the words don't hit me, and I don't want to waste any more of your time doing research. And you're right. I have so much coming in that sometimes pulling it out is slow. But those two particles are called quantum entanglement, and that's a well-known, documented fact. And that's how this security is going to happen. This unbreakable security is going to happen. Please go back to your Frozen video. Read the comments again. I can't. It's a gone thing. I wish I could. I don't want to repost. I'm sorry, Patricia. I wish I could. Fam, hi. Hi, fam. Good to see you. Sending love. Great to catch you live. Thank you so much. The strength that you guys have given me with your acceptance of me is what feeds my soul. It's way more than spirit if you only knew the situation, but I won't go into it here. One-on-one, yes. I know we've talked about that, and I read every one of your messages, Jeff, and responded to them. I get it. I do get it, and hopefully you'll understand that you may be in a position of transition right now. So look inside. Close your eyes. Ask your Creator for guidance, for support, to bring you into a higher vibration. Try that. Fam says, blessed care and healing to all divine children. Thank you so much for that, Fam. Yes, we will need to learn the truth and be brief to move forward. I kind of hope they don't do the executions. On TV, I have no desire to see that. It's enough for me to know that the evil is gone. I don't need to see people suffering, just eliminated. And I do agree that I hope they are eliminated permanently, because there are some people that can never, ever be rehabilitated. I said it could, not will. Please understand the comment. There's lots of them, Jeff, so I'm not sure, but I'm glad you said could. Oh, could. It could be that late. Okay. Anything is possible, but like I said, all indications are that, and I apologize if I said would, all indications are that it's going to be before 2030. I hope I am too, Helen. Yeah, Jeff, I get it. I'm just frustrated because we warned them so many times, and we were called tinfoil hats. And then I think that's the part of it. One thing that we have to learn, guys, is we have to get control of our ego. When we know the true reality of the universe, and when I mean ego, I don't mean we're puffed up and full of ourselves. By ego, I mean the notion that we are separate. The only thing that keeps us separate are these bodies. The energy is all one. We are one. I am you, you are me, blah, 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 cuckoo. And that gets back to the Zen question about who am I? We are the energy of the Creator. That's who we really are. This is an illusion. And I see it as a vehicle. It's a car that drives us around this world. It's not us. The true us is within. And that's what they can't ever destroy. They didn't destroy Dan's spirit. Dan's spirit just moved to where it needs to go. So as far as being angry at these people, understand that most of them are kindred spirits, and they are us. They are the energy of creation that makes all of this possible. So they went astray. Who of us didn't make a mistake? Many of them probably weren't nearly the mistakes that the people that took the jab were, but like I said, they're going to pay for it. That doesn't bring me any joy whatsoever, and it shouldn't bring us joy to see our fellow people suffering so much. Now, the dark ones without a soul, I don't want to see them suffer. Like I said, I just want them gone. All have been manipulated, not stupid. You're right, fam. You are absolutely right. And it does, when they called us tinfoil hats and they yelled at us and screamed at us and kicked us out of stores. I was kicked out of a store because I refused to put a mask on. And, yeah, we want to say, I told you so. I told you so. But that's not the goal. The goal isn't to be right. The goal is to become servants of mankind, of humanity, and to help them wake up, not shove it in their face. So I agree with you guys. And to continue the boost, they're still brainwashed, Jeff. They're still brainwashed. But you're right. You have to understand that the universe has its way, and these people are paying for it big time. And Vixen said that, and here's something I want to repeat because Jeff said good to hear. Vixen said that I came in for lumps in my boobs, and the doc asked me if I was vaccinated. Wow. And I replied, no, and I won't be either. Her doctor actually said, good, stick with that. She wasn't corrupt. And there are some of them that aren't corrupt. Yeah, maybe they trusted the system, but I feel someone with that kind of responsibility and training had due diligence to perform before they push those things on people. So personally, my feelings are, if those doctors didn't care enough about their patients to do the research on that stuff, and the big one was the masks. Everybody knew the masks. That's really dangerous. Don't do that. So personally, I think they should lose their license, be retrained, something. I don't know, but I blame it on many of the doctors that didn't honor their oath of doing no harm. Helen, so glad to hear from you, Helen. I wish we would have met too at X-Pharmacon, but there'll be another time. We're going to plan a vacation in a private home with a select group of people, and we're going to stay together for a week. I don't know when this will be yet, but we're going to cook together. We're going to pray together. We're going to meditate together. We're going to dance and love together. And that will be coming up in the future. Okay, let's see what else we got. Thank you. Thank you, Helen. And I know that's not your real name, Hel. I love Hel. I'll call you Hel. No, I don't want to call you that. Helen, I'm going to call you. She says that my channel is the only one she's ever joined, and she watches it a lot, and she hopes to be able to rejoin soon. So maybe she left the live. I don't know. The act is in fear taking the jab. They acted in fear. Yes, they did. And they're still fearful. You're absolutely right. They still are, Patricia. Thank you for that. It is very sad. Reppy, a new name. Hi, Reppy. Nice to meet you. Girl or boy, I can't see. And I'm afraid to touch anything to see your picture because this whole live thing is kind of icky. It's hard to, I'm new at this. It's nice to see your face. Question, do you consider yourself a starseed? Actually, I do. Reppy. And we'll talk sometime about my history, but I was born on Fort Bragg Army Base. And my parents were there for a short time, but it was during 1954 when all of the Nazi scientists were going, and they were doing the whole, oh, come on, the big program, the MK Ultra. That's when MK Ultra was the year I was born, started. And like I said, I was born on Fort Bragg, which is a big intelligence thing. Then I was put into Catholic schools at a very young age, from the age of 5. I was put in Catholic schools until the age of 10th grade. And I have no independent memory of what happened from birth up until we moved to Florida. But a weird thing too, because it's kind of like, do they follow starseeds? I don't know, but the doctor that birthed me, that gave me life on Fort Bragg, turned up to open an office when we moved to Florida, and I was in 10th grade, less than 3 miles from where we were living. Now, how does that happen? I don't know. So I believe that I am, I've worked on it. I also believe that I lived a life in Lemuria at one point, which was predated Atlantis. And there's an email that Dan and I talked about this, because Jen Han told Dan that he was an energy scientist on Atlantis. And I'm going to share one of those emails with you guys too. So yes, I think that I am. And Patricia has always called me her avatar. I didn't know what that meant. I'm still growing too, Patricia. We all are. Let's say, and that's what I meant about good to hear, not about the lumps. Yeah, I'd never wish that on any woman. I know you wouldn't, Jeff. Okay, Tony took something away. I don't know what that is. It says it retracted. I hope you guys can see me. I am the ex-pharmacist, okay? I know there's a man's picture up there, but it's me. I am the ex-pharmacist. Suicidal tendencies institutionalized. I need full sentences, Tony, so that I can understand a little better and respond. Randy's the one that said, where is the ex-pharmacist? It's me. It's kind of hard, guys, for me to go through these things bit by bit. It's kind of scrolls there, but I hope I'm keeping up okay. Oh, Helen says mine was the only channel she became a member of. The ex-pharmacist has as very high voice. Oh, okay. Randy, let me explain this to you. For the first 2 years, I used an AI voice. And that was the voice that you were hearing. And that got me demonetized in addition to some of the content from YouTube. And I've done a lot of research on it, and they're going heavy duty on the AI. So I used a male picture on the logo, but I also for 2 years used an AI voice. That wasn't my voice. I like it better, but I had to do what it was, and this is my voice, unfortunately. Let's see. So everybody understands that, I hope, and I never meant to deceive anyone. I was very open about the fact that it was an AI voice. But I had great fears because of things that happened when I was working for the state and threats to my life, and I wanted to stay as anonymous as possible. And this forced me out, and I think it's going to be a good thing. Shelley says it was all about money for the shots. Yeah. I was doing my nightly charting. Oh, so, okay. And then RN, that's right. You were a CNA. And then RN was telling a long something higher UOS, some typos we got, wanted even the people who didn't die of COVID got that marked on their chart. You know, you have to wonder. So you're saying people... So you're saying that higher ups, so the RNs were told that higher ups wanted even the people that didn't die of COVID to get that marked on their charts. And guess why that was? You know the reason. We all know the reason. And Shelley then qualified that because they got money for each COVID death. They got money for the respirators. They got money for the remdesivir. They got money for the diagnosis alone. And what it was is it wasn't a backhanded thing, as Shelley will tell us, because she is familiar with coding. It was a matter of billing. They got it all legally through the system because they were reimbursed more when people had COVID than if they didn't. So obviously, now what the doctors got in there, I understand they got more also on their fees for billing and treating those patients. So it wasn't that anything happened under the table. It was all above the table, and it was all done legally through billing and insurance companies. So you know the insurance companies were there because in the middle of it, because if somebody was paying them, because they would not have been paying those advanced reimbursements if somebody wasn't paying them. What was Project Paperclip during that time? Project Paperclip was when they brought... Yes, Project Paperclip was when they brought the... I'm pretty sure that was the one. When they brought the Nazis in and embedded them, the Nazi scientists, and embedded them in our military facilities doing research. So we got some whack jobs that were just murdering people like that. And we embedded them into our own government. So sad. Meant that LPN, that the higher... I got that, Shelley. I figured it out. I see that. Yeah, you know what? I wondered about this. I don't know if you can see it. I'm wearing this, and here's why. Because um, number one, I wanted to let you guys know that yeah, I did practice it a whole long time. You can even check, when I didn't renew my license in the databases. But but I thought, you know what? The pharmacists and the doctors of the future need to change, and I have that education. I rebuked it, but it gave me so much more in understanding the body. I rebuked the drug part of it, but my education as a pharmacist was so much more than just learning about drugs. I learned about the body. I dissected a human being, and I saw how these organs are. I have to say, I refused to. I got a 0 because I refused to anesthetize and cut a cat open to see its working organisms. And so I never saw them working, but I saw them in the corpse. See, he was dead anyway, but I chose to get a 0 rather than kill those cats. Yes. Tony, suicidal tendencies is the 80s punk rock. Okay, institutionalized. No, I didn't know that. But I did like punk, but I was more in I Want to Be Sedated. Remember that one in college? And by the way, you might like it, Tony. Tim, I'm working on Tim to put up. He is a rock aficionado. Let me tell you, he knows more about what these rock musicians have done. One thing he didn't know, obviously, was the deal with the devil that they sign, or many of them sign. But I'm going to be announcing his channel. It's going to be a going up. I know he's working on one for Lars. Tim's a drummer, and he's working on one. So he's working on a channel that'll be up, and I'll start advertising his a little bit, or at least mentioning it. Not advertising it, but mentioning it. And you're right. The fraud during COVID-19 was off the chart from a global standpoint. We've had our crooks in the United States, but I think the point you make is great, that it was off the charts. Jeff, I think she had to go. She did say something that Vixen had to leave. No, and no, and she didn't. She definitely didn't leave over your comment. I don't believe so, because she told me that she had to leave and she looked forward to more of them. So no, Jeff, it wasn't that. I think it was clear that your comment was that her doctor wouldn't force her to take the jab when she was diagnosed with cancer. So don't worry about that. Don't take it on yourself and let those things happen. It's not how it works. So how are we doing? I don't know how many people we still have. The comments have slowed down. If you got one, throw it in there. If you're done and you want to go home, that's good too. We've been on an hour and a half. So that's a while. I'm good. I love every moment that I spend with you. Let me give you a few heads up here. Let me go to my desk here and tell you what's coming up. On the ex-pharmacist, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 videos that I'm working on that haven't been released yet. And one of them is, which will be more, but I'm working on one about some intel I got about Mars and the status of Mars from Dan. And that will probably be the next one. Hope to have it this week. Another one that I'm doing is the deal with the devil. I always wondered, what the heck does that mean? What do these people actually do? And it's fascinated me since I learned about the deal with the devil back in, I want to say that was in the about 2008, somewhere around there. 20 years ago, I learned about the deal. And I've done a lot of research on it. I've actually talked to people who know people that signed the deal. So that's going to be a video that I'm doing also. The Philadelphia experiment, Vi and I forget who else it was. It was one of you guys talked about the Philadelphia experiment and put a note there. So I'm going to do one on that. Also, Mac has requested holographs for healing. I've done this in the past, but I have to redo some of these with my real voice anyway. And the one I did in the past, and I left a message on Mac's comment, was some help that Dan gave me about using crystal and embedding our consciousness and focusing our attention inside the crystal. So let's say we want to heal a certain thing, right? And this came from Jen Han, by the way, and Dan passed it on to me. You'll be getting that email out. I'll be getting that out too. But you take that crystal, you hold it, you love it. And whatever part of your body you're wanting to heal, you project that vision of healing right into the crystal. And that is a way to intensify your self-healing. So we're going to be doing one on that. And also, I'm wondering what's going on with Don Jr. And, he marries Newsom's ex-wife, Kimberly Guilfoyle, who in the movie Bombshell, she was the one running around and giving heirs BJs allegedly and getting the whole team to support him when it was all coming down. What was Don Jr. doing with her? I always wondered about that. And now he's got this other wife that is a part of a banking magnate that apparently had close ties with Epstein. So Don Jr. is falling out, and I hope they didn't get him, because it doesn't mean that they wouldn't. It doesn't mean, they say that men are often driven by that organ that's between their legs. And I hope that Don isn't the case. Maybe it's a psyop. And then the other person that Mac asked me about, and I'm just not sure about, is David Grush, whether he's flipped or not. So I'm working on those ideas on this channel. The other channel I'm working on the Clean Living channel. The next one on there will be that 90% of the cooking oils in our pantry have been through chemical processes and heat baths before they ever reach the grocery shelf. And these aren't just buying a bottle of oil. This is also in the foods, the oils that they use. So that there's going to be one on the Clean Living Lab on oils, and also Manuka honey and honeys. And I have one that's coming out next on my arthritis garden, or my anti-inflammatory natural garden that I'm making. So we've got some coming out on that. That's a little smaller because I know there's more of you on this channel. But those are some of the previews of what's coming. Let's see, we got a few more comments. Okay, Patricia's got to leave. Can't to meet on Friday 26th. Can't wait. She can't wait to meet on Friday 26th at 4 p.m. Yes, we'll be doing another live on Friday. Helen had a boyfriend in the 80s that said they ran out of names for rock bands. Therefore, some of them are crazy names. We got to get you on, we got to get you guys on Tim's channel if you like rock, because he knows more minutia about rock legends than I ever dreamt. How do I go? This is for Shelley. How do I go through and know what med beds I need to get my dad off? Okay, well, what meds to get my dad off? He has AFib, and he's so loaded down with on his meds. I got some taken away. I know he didn't need the rest. I'm not sure. Okay, the beta blockers you cannot stop. So if he's on a beta blocker, I can tell you right off the bat, you can't stop that. It has to be a slow removal. And that's the one that I kept my dad on when I removed all his medications. So the beta blockers, that's a no-no. Work with the doctor and just point blank say, I want to taper him off this. There are things that you can use for diuresis. And the way I tell people to do this is there's a tea that I use, that Tim and I use, called Kali. It's from Sunrider, and it's based on traditional Chinese medicine and herbs. And we drink this like water. Okay, I mean, we keep a jug in there all the time, and we drink it like water. And it will, if he's on a diuretic, which many people are, bring that in. And what I say is add the new things in, and then let the doctor see the difference. And of course, if it's heart failure, it's a little different. But the AFib, let me tell you this: they killed my dad with a drug that caused AFib, and that was amiodarone. If he's on amiodarone, insist it be changed, okay? They overdosed him on it. And it was a whole family dynamics, and I finally got everybody on board. And then basically, some family members chose to euthanize my dad before we started removing the drug from him with things. So I have to be very careful on this, Shelley. But what I'm saying to you is, you can get them off. It says right now you need to get them off. That you've gotten them off some, right? He's so loaded. I got to take some away. Another thing you can do is switch to a naturopath. I don't know if the insurance there goes, but there are some physicians that are both MDs and naturopaths. In my opinion, that is gold. If you can find an MD that's also a naturopath, that person will help you. Oh, I got balloons. What's that about? I don't know. I saw balloons on the channel. So if you can find a naturopath that's also an MD, go there. If not, be forceful and ask me questions and I'll tell you, okay? If you want to try the Cali tea, I'll put that, and I make notes of what I put in these things. I'll put a link to it, and you can purchase the Cali tea. And I actually had a friend that was diabetic, and I gave her some, and within 2 days, her sugar dropped of taking this. So I'm a big believer in Cali. Tim has used it since the time he was 20, and I've been using it for almost as long as I've known him, 10 years. So I'm a big believer. So what you do is we get him on these other things, the natural things, the food to help. And I'm going to also, and this is in no way encouraging people to take people off drugs. I'm going to go over some and put a list of some medications that are used to steady the heart. Not medications, sorry. Not medications, food. Some food for me, so that you understand, my food is my medicine, and my medicine is my food. So that's why I cross that. But I'll give you some foods that you can take to begin, and some foods to stay away from also. Pros and cons, specifically for those suffering from AFib. Let's see. Looks like we lost Fam. Thank you, Tony. I appreciate it. I really do. And so you want to learn about the crystals. Dan wanted so much. He gave me a whole set of his slides, all of his slides, in fact, on the crystals and so forth. I think it's on the crystals. And I will definitely, that's in the future when I start releasing some of these emails that Dan and I had. Oils, great. Please notify. I will. The oils are a big one, guys. It's on the Clean Living Lab, not on this channel. There'll be a link to the Clean Living Lab. It's all over. It's up at the top of my header on the Ex-Pharmacist channel. But this is, I've pulled out all these toxins, how to identify them, and how to eat clean and substitute. I'll do everything from the science of it all to the research of it, the science and the research of it, to the actual giving you options and helping with some simple recipes, right down to hair care and skin products that we'll be making, just like you were in the pharmacy with me making this stuff. So we'll have some of those. So I hope you will join the Clean Living Lab. And I think the oils are the next critical thing. We did the plastics. I hope you're doing okay on those, Patricia. I know you were. But I think the oils are the next big thing that we have to be aware of and eliminate. The Cali tea. Okay, Shelley, I will put that in there for sure. And you're looking for a naturopath now. Great. Oh, his doctor helped. You know what? If his doctor fights you every step of the way, look for some new doctors. The insurance makes it really tough. But you get on the phone and you say, here's what I'm trying to do. And you change that doctor. And I have no problem saying, if the doctor is fighting you getting off the drugs, change doctors, okay? Change doctors. I went through the same thing. And what I can tell you is they had my dad on 16 drugs, and I got him off of all but one. And then he got cancer. And there are times for drugs, We did go through the treatment. We went to Mayo Clinic. We went through the treatment. And cancer is one thing where I would always believed, because we have to understand, so that you understand, Shelley, nature is slow. It's really slow. It's not generally something to treat or halt a condition. It is a restructuring of how the body works, a reset of how the body works. And it takes several months. So if somebody's diagnosed with cancer, if I had it, and I can't tell anybody what to do, but in today's world, with what we know and the treatment regimens that they've begun, they're not nearly as hard. My sister didn't lose her hair. She had a little nausea now and then, but they treat you with anti-nauseants. There's times to take drugs, but when you're talking about the heart, all of those drugs that they put you on, many of them are simply for the side effects of the other drugs that they've got you on. And I know from experience that somebody that has got AFib, the first thing we look to is the drugs. And, one thing, Shelley, that I also want, I'm going to find this for you real quick. Drug side effect checker. Okay, I'll put it in there also. A couple different sites have them, and I use several of them. But there are actually, like right here, metoprolol and the side effects. There are websites that you can go, that you can actually go through, and I'll pick the best one and I'll put it in there. Let's put this, side effect and interaction. And what this is, it's online, and it's just like we had back in the days of pharmacy. When the systems were set up with a software so that if I put a drug in and you were on one that interacted with it, or that it would be contraindicated with, automatically the profile came up and it alerted us to us. It didn't stop us from still dispensing the drug, but it alerted it to us, and then we would have to make the decision whether to call the doctor or not. So I'm going to put a fact-checking, screw that, I'm not saying fact-checking. I'm going to put a side effect and interaction checker into this one, this video for you in the comments. Give me a little time. It'll probably be later today. And you can actually go in and you can put all of Dad's medicines in there, and it'll tell you what each one of them could be causing that another drug, and what the other drug it could be interacting with. And if you still have problems and you can't identify it, I'm happy to help you. Get on the channel, ask me. I'm not the fastest thing in the world, because I want, so that you know, when I am slow on answering comments, it's not because I'm ignoring you in any way. Please don't ever think that. It's because I feel each and every one of you deserve my attention, and you've given me your time, and I want to give you my time. So I spend a little more time than a doctor would when you walk in for 5 minutes, or a pharmacist. It's like a one-on paper hanger. I'm able now finally to give you guys the attention. So if you have problems with these checkers, use them first. And if you have problems, we'll go over it together, and I'll see what I can find. I'll need a list of all his meds, but please try and do it first. Okay, so where am I on this live stream? Am I still going? I don't know. Yes, I'm still on. Okay. All right. So let's go back here. I'm glad you guys are still interested. Tony, let's see what Tony had to say. Ex-pharmacist rocks. Not as much as my husband, but fam left. I can't wait to see more. Oil's great. Shelley, okay, she's working on her dad. Tony, you're right. Natural is the key. I'm Native American. I'm part Cherokee, and I go back to that. What did we do back then? And I in the last live that I did, I think it was there that I went over, and so I won't repeat these, but I went over how pharmaceuticals are so inferior to the medicine that the Creator put on the earth. Problem is, people can't make money on that, so there's not a lot on it about how to do it. And that's why I'm in the Clean Living Lab, is because I'm going to show you guys how to basically cook your own treatments with what the Creator has put on this planet. And it's going to keep all of the alkaloids in there. It's going to take away the side effects. And it's not going to have all of the contaminants that are used to extract those components from to put them into the pills. So we'll do more of that on the clean living. Oh, you moved to the kitchen. Okay, Patricia. Vibes high, love Den. Thank you so much. Another great video. Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate it. And I hope you can make it on Friday. And then I have watched these, what the drugs have done to my dad. Yeah. He was 185 pounds and he's now 130. His muscle tone is gone. Here's one thing that's so hard. I had people fighting me. I had family fighting every step of the way when we were working with my dad. And I believe that he wouldn't be alive today because he was 80 some years old, 86, I think, when he died. But, and that was in 2009 that he died, I think, or 2010. So he probably wouldn't be with us anyway. But for the muscle tone, this is huge. And he hated it. But I would force him to keep those muscles up. He'd take his walker and I would make him just walk the driveway one time down. And keep in mind that this is a progression. The body works and the muscle tone, it's a progression, little by little. Just because you just walk to the end of the driveway or halfway there doesn't mean that it's not helping. And then what happens is every couple days, a little bit further and a little bit further, there's weights you can get, very light weights to put on his legs and have him lift them. Please work on the muscles, because what I'm saying to you is that once they become bedridden and that muscle tone is gone, everything goes downhill. So even if he is already in that state where he can't walk and he's in a wheelchair or using it, if he's in a wheelchair, what I did with my dad when he was in one is I simply put that walker in front of him and I made him stand up 3 times and go back down, and stand up 3 times and go back down. If he's in that condition, then start slower and then build it up to 5 times, 10 times. Move him outdoors and let him get the air and the energy and let him do those little tiny walks. My dad hated me for it, but I forced him to do it and he was mobile till the end. So, oh, hi. Wolfie's here to say hi, guys. Wolfie is a little bit of a ham, and he's very inquisitive and wants to know what's going on. One of my last videos, Susan said that he was in the back. So Shelley, do not give up. Don't listen to these people. Organic coconut water. Helen signed off. And Shelley, yeah, reach out to me on the board, and we can get this going for you. I'm always happy to answer the questions. And on the lives, actually, it makes it easier, doesn't it? Because I can answer them right then and there. So, yeah, get him whatever it takes. Just build those muscles, because if he loses that muscle tone, and keep in mind, it's not only he walks with a cane. Good. That's amazing. Then if he walks with a cane, then what I would say is try to get him doing some very mild squats, okay? He doesn't have to go down to his knees. He doesn't have to drop. If he drops an inch and it puts weight on that, have him do a couple squats, have him do a little bit of that. Keep the blood flowing. Maybe some light weights. If he's willing to go on some kind of program, then you're way ahead of the game. If he's fighting this with you, you're way ahead of the game, because I was fighting it with my dad against me, with my entire family against me. So, and we saved him multiple, at least 1, 2, 3, 4 times they gave up on my dad and we brought him back. So never give up. Tony, thank you so much for the hearts. They really mean a lot. And Helen. Okay, so any more question, guys? How are we feeling about this? He wants off the drugs. Amazing. Get him on the channel and get him on the Clean Living channel. Are you taking care of him, Shelley, or is your mom? Because there's foods that you can give him that will help heal his body, help his heart, and so forth. Family. What does that mean, Tony? I need longer words. I feel like you are. Okay, so you're taking care of him. Your mom passed. I'm sorry to hear that. So then, if it helps him to see the videos and understand what you're trying to do, if he's on board, here's what I say. Make him laugh. make him laugh, show him comedy movies, do whatever it takes to keep his vibe up, but teach him gratitude. Teach him to align with the energies. And let's use, I don't know if you saw that last one that that Mac led us to with those, what is that guy's name? It keeps escaping me, bear with me for one sec. I'm kind of slow on this, but I really can't believe how far I've come on this. All right, so the last one that I did, on the source code, the Grabovoi numbers. Why don't we do some numbers? I'll pull some up for you. There's a whole list of them in that video of all kinds of things. When you go into that, I would say health. You want to write these codes where he sees them. It can be subliminal. Tell him what he's thinking and tell him, Dad, every time you see this number, it's going to align you with the healing vibes that you need. There's good health, healing. Let me see if I can find any that deal specifically with heart. And I'll also put them in this video so you don't have to go back and find them in that other one. So try the Grabovoi codes as well. Sometimes with older people, it's hard to make them understand the energetic connection. And I totally get that. But if he wants off of them, that's amazing. That's just amazing. He asks you questions. You're working. He's angry. Okay, he's a Vietnam. Oh, boy, he has PTSD. Do you have medical marijuana in your state? If you do, I would recommend getting him because it's highly, highly effective for PTSD. And he doesn't have to smoke it. I don't recommend smoking it. Make some brownies, and I'll give you a recipe if he does. But I'm not big on this whole new program of the executive order that Trump signed to give people with PTS the hallucinogens. They use that in MK Ultra programming. I don't like the person that pushed it on Trump. And God forbid, I definitely wouldn't want your dad to experience such a thing. It's very risky. Okay, if you have, he does believe in, that is a plus if he believes in the, I'll get right back to you. Tony, you're absolutely right. Sometimes family, the dynamics of family sometimes are not always the best. You're right. Nobody had an education in this field except me in my family. I was the first to ever go to college in my family, and I had to pay for it myself because my parents, I think they used to pray that I wouldn't go to college or ask to go because they didn't have the means to do it. I come from, my dad was a carpenter, a upholsterer, and my mom was a waitress. So we didn't have the money, and I think there was a lot of animosity by the fact that I went to college and others didn't. But if you've got, so back to Shelley, so you're right. Family is not always helpful, but that's why we sometimes look for families like this one on this channel. And this is my family, and I consider it my family. So I hope you'll stick with this, Tony, because there's amazing people on here. You'll never, and if anybody is mean or unkind, boom, I usually give them one warning because they don't realize that sometimes they're in this habit of being snarkily to people and so forth. But they get one warning and then they're knocked off the channel. I block them off the channel. So it's a really, really beautiful group of people. Shelley, I think everyone's benefiting by your question, so don't worry. If you have medical marijuana, I would talk to your dad about it. It's far better than the drugs like Xanax and so forth that they give to people. It's not physically addicting. It is emotionally addicting, but I believe that it is probably one of the best treatments for PTSD that we have out there. He doesn't have to smoke it. I don't recommend it because of the stuff in the lungs, but if you want, we'll make some brownies for him. I'll give you a recipe. We won't make them. I'll give you a recipe for them. So his doctor's probably not going to like it, but like I said, sounds like he needs new doctors anyway, doesn't it? So Yeah. Also, meditation. Is he at all amenable to any kind of calming meditation type things? If he is, so let's put here brownie recipe. Tony, that's so kind of you. That's so kind of you. So, what do you think? Is he at all? And when I say meditation, I have a, let me see if I've got a guided meditation. He doesn't have to do anything. The more he participates, the better. But if he just begins to feel a feeling of well-being and begin to understand how his body works, I did a, he likes nature, so I take him for a nature park 3 times a week. Wonderful. Okay. Let me just see if I can find out if I did. No, I did a meditation. This was for failure. It was for heart failure and diabetes. Let me see if I can modify that a little bit for your dad. And if you think, I want to do it if he's not even going to listen to it. But basically what it does is within 15 to 20 minutes a day, you go through and it helps you connect. And I would put a script in there to help him understand how his body works, why his valve or his, is it atrial fib that he has? Why his atrium is jittering like this, and to tell it to calm. That's another thing I tell people, and it sounds so simple, guys. Yes, of course you can, Vixen. Of course you can. What I tell people, one key trigger word I always would use, because I had PTSD from my dad's death and the trauma of what went down during that whole thing. I had a lot of guilt. I promised my dad I'd never give up on him. And he asked me, he respected me in the very morning that they killed him, in my opinion. That very morning, I asked him if he wanted to continue to fight, and he said yes. And so I had a lot of guilt, and it was post-traumatic stress syndrome for me. And when I would feel it, you could feel your chest getting tighter and tighter and tighter when that happens. And I trained my body to use the word calm to trigger a relaxation of that. Basically, it's the flight or fight syndrome. So when your dad, he doesn't even have to do it when he gets excited, but that's an important time to do it. But if he just takes a few minutes a day and just says, calm, I feel myself relaxing, and my body is relaxing, every muscle in my body. Talk to yourself. It's okay. Let him know that. So get him out in nature, sit there. Do you have the various frequencies, the healing frequencies? Solfeggio 528. There is a playlist of music that I use myself for healing on the channel. So look for the playlist that is, I think it's Spirits Music or something like that. And I'll be with you in just a second, Vix. Let's see. Let me find that playlist. The playlist is called Hi, Woofy. How's my Woofy boy doing, huh? What the heck is it? I'm sorry. Bear with me for a second. I know I've taken a lot of your time. But I want to make sure that she gets this. Okay, the playlist name is Ex-Pharmacist Recommended Music. And when you go into that, you'll find solfeggio frequencies. Let me see if I can get the whole thing up. If you can't find it, let me know. Just ask me and I'll give you the link for it. but I don't want to have links all over that you can't find. So it's called Ex-Pharmacist Recommended Music. There's something called solfeggio frequencies in there. And I did a video on solfeggio frequencies and how they were used historically for healing. And I'll tell you what, when my Miss Tilly died, I consumed myself with the solfeggio frequencies, and it really, really brought me clarity. And in addition to this community, it's what made me be able to do this. So use those. Thank you, Patricia. I appreciate that. It's hard sometimes when you make promises and then you can't keep them because others interfere. And it to this day, I can tell you, to this day, the fact that I couldn't, I think he knows. I think he knows that. Okay, Tony, I got it. I think he knows that I wanted to be there for him, and I did everything I possibly could. And literally, when my mom made the choice to do what they did, because she was bombarded by other family members, I looked at her crying and I said, "You're making me choose between my dad and you." And I always supported my mom, and I realized that the significant others in the family of people that are suffering sometimes need as much support as those. And I said to her, "So if that's what you want and if that's what you feel is best, I will choose you." And I swear, within less than a minute, my dad opened his eyes, and he had been out of it for the whole day. He opened his eyes, he looked straight at me and took his last breath. And so I have a lot of issues on that, you know. Tony, don't be afraid. You have a really warm community here. No, I have not tried a med bed. What I did, Vixen, is when Miss Tilly died and she was sick, I brought Miss Tilly to the Tesla biohealing centers. And then they were called med bed centers. FDA got on them and they started calling them biohealing centers. And what I can tell you is I have biohealers, a couple of them that I bought. And she was in that center the entire day. And I used to help my friend Medj out at the center. And what I could tell you is a couple testimonials that I had. And these aren't the med beds, but if people need help, I would definitely try using one of these alternative vibrational healing methods. And I can only speak with the Tesla biohealers, but and I do have somebody that I trust implicitly if you choose to try one of those. And there's clinics all over, but Medj, I really rely on. She's a good person, a good soul. But Miss Tilly, for the first time in days after she was in that med bed, got up and walked. She not only walked, she ran alongside of me up steps. Oh, no, I carried her up the steps. That's right, because she was too weak to go up the steps. But she ran to the steps from going potty. I carried her up, and she ran back into the med bed room. There was a man there that I was there one day when we were treating him, and he had GI cancer. And he was using the tachyon discs, okay? And I did put them, I believe, in my last... I put a list of links to the tachyons, but he had the tachyon discs that we were putting on his gut. And he said to me, "I had one treatment and I don't know what in the world is in these things," he said, "but my pain was gone." So if you really need help, I have no problem telling you to use these ones. They're not as strong as the med beds. They're what we have right now. And they absolutely work if you believe they do. Tony, your situation is a major issue. I understand. How, okay. Let's see. Well, you certainly need to start on you are there. You have nothing basically but time to go within you. Go within you. I think I did a meditation on MS. Let me check that for you. Hang on one second. Yep, I did. Okay, that's going to go in there for you, Tony. And let me tell you what this is. And don't think that it's going to cure you overnight. It doesn't happen that way. As I said, nature heals very slowly, but I did a guided meditation. And if you've never meditated, don't worry. Just listen, okay? Listen, close your eyes, and just follow the instructions on it. But I did do one for MS. And I'm also, and what I could say is, don't expect to get up and walk because you listen to a video. It's not going to happen. It's going to take years or a med bed for you to get better. But what you can do is try. So, for instance, I don't know, just try to move your toes. I'm sure you've done this. Also, I want to, are you familiar? So I'm going to do that one. What was his name? Are you familiar with the Miracle Man? Morris, I forget his last name, but I'll put that in this one also. Morris Goodman. He is called the Miracle Man. Morris was left for dead. He was a quadriplegic from a plane crash. He was a very successful man. He had a business in a private plane, and he crashed his plane. And he was a quadriplegic. They gave up on him. They literally told his wife to get her affairs in order. Morris said, as long as I have my mind, I can heal myself. And he swore he was going to walk out of that hospital by Christmas, and I'll be darned if he didn't. He now is a public speaker, and, you know, he has still some neurological things with his speech, but he is the greatest inspiration that I have ever seen for the ability for mankind to heal themselves. So I'm going to put Morris's video in there. It'll be in this one. And what I'm going to do is I'll go down, because I put a lot of stuff in the descriptions of these. It'll say in caps, multiple sclerosis. And I'll put Morris in there. I'll put the meditation. And all you have to do is take a few minutes to listen to this meditation. If you can begin to visualize, if you have that power, then do that. But it basically goes through the neurons, and it takes you through the body and tries to energize the neurons. You were a pro athlete. Gosh, that must be hard for you. Someone that was so active, I know. So I don't know if you were in football or not, but was the football going to get you first? I don't know. And was the football related in any way? Who knows all of this stuff in retrospect, huh? But yes, no negatives. And we'll get some stuff up there for you. Please, please, please reach out. I can't practice medicine. I'm not qualified to practice medicine. I don't know everything about your history or anything like that. What I can do is I can help you and guide you in the direction of healing yourself. Deepak Chopra, back in about 2005, I went to see him once. And now I know it looks like he turned dark, which is no surprise. But they also tried to get Tony Robbins. But they get people. But back in 2006, I saw him, and Deepak Chopra told us that the future of medicine is that we will be healing ourselves. Doctors will be teaching us to heal ourselves. So you can absolutely do it. And I'm happy to do whatever research I can to help you if you're willing to put the effort in. So just let me know if it's helping, if it's not, and stick with it, because something that is required in order to heal ourselves is the belief that you can do it. If you honestly believe you're a victim of this system and there's nothing that you can do to heal your body, then you won't be able to do it. I promise you that. But if you studied the science behind it and you understand, then, you can heal yourself. The more you believe, Einstein said, what you can conceive, you can achieve. So you can do it. You have to believe it. Let's see what Vixen says. Not pot or hash. We have tunes of Swedes that's gone psychotic from that. Well, from hash anyway. Well, I haven't done hash since I was a kid, to be honest with you. But what you have to remember too is that these medical marijuanas that they have nowadays are much cleaner. And I'm not by any, this is not you, but and I don't know about Sweden because, like I said, I never went to Sweden. But the Danes, man, the Danes smoke everything. They were the biggest smokers I ever, was it the Danes? Yeah, the Danes. The biggest smokers I ever saw in my life. I couldn't even stand near them because there was so much smoke wafting around. So that's why I say do not smoke it. Don't smoke. And I kind of sometimes see at least the Danish. I don't know about Sweden because I think you guys have a much more traditional foundation than Denmark. But I think that perhaps what I got when my time in Denmark is they were kind of like devil may care, do anything. They weren't really big into taking care of themselves. So the hash, I don't recommend the hash, but nowadays, if you go to a medical doctor and they monitor your heartbeat, not real good. They're not great. But if she gets a really good doctor, a naturopath that prescribes it for her, then they'll watch her closely and so forth. And I have, since actually, let's see, I started using it. And I actually am pretty much tapered off of it. I rarely use it anymore because it did. One thing to keep in mind is the body gets retrained. So my responses to stress have changed by using that, by taking those brownies and keeping myself calm and not getting so upset when I have to deal with Starlink and I'm spending 3 hours on the phone when I'd rather be working for you guys. Normally that would have just set me off. But my body trained over the years. I took medical marijuana for about 3 years. And I didn't take it to get high in any way. I kept the doses low. The purpose was never to get high, okay? The purpose was merely to calm my nervous system. And it clearly does that. So I took very low doses of it. I took it twice a day. And my body retrained so that now when something happens, it would just set me off before. And that is part of something that we talked about before. That is neuroplasticity, that the body basically follows the same pathways over and over again. We respond the same by habit. And that we have to break that habit. That's part of a neurolinguistic program, breaks that habit. So what happens is it's kind of like we're going through a forest with full of trees, a dense forest, and that's over here. And then there's this well-worn path of our habits, and that is our response to stress also. So we have this well-worn path that's the easiest path to take, and the body will always take that path, which is freaking out, setting off all of our mechanisms in our body, our heart rate, all of the flight of fright, the stopping of our digestion, all of that stuff, the cortisol, all of it is a direct response of that stress. And I did one on stress too, a video a while back. So what happens is we follow that path of least resistance. But when we forge neuroplasticity is all of these neurons have this path that they're used to taking. Boom, 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 boom. We follow this one. When we make a deliberate attempt to change that pathway, instead of the neurons going on this direct, we take the harder path and we begin to forge it. And every time we take that path, it becomes clearer and clearer. And that old path overgrows. That old woodsy path overgrows again, and it's no longer the path of least resistance. And our body takes that new pathway that we forged through repetition and cleared out. So I believe there is a connection between weed and the numbness. I don't get it. And I question a lot of work on it because all of us know, I can only go by my own experience, okay? And that is that I had tremendous numbness, tingling, all of this stuff. And it was a nutritional deficiency. I started taking a blood builder that I use. And again, that gets back to my whole history. My dad had this weird blood disease that nobody could find. And I have this same thing. They can't find the reason for it. So I take a blood builder, beets, lots of beets is good, but I do take a supplement that's good. What do I have for adrenal fatigue? CPTSD. That's a new term I've given it, huh? Well, it's kind of like the same thing as everything else. Do you feel you have it, Vixen? I've taken supplements before, but I'd rather do it with food for adrenal problems. It didn't really help that much. These, cortisol supplements and stuff like that. What helps more than anything? What helped me out of that dark hole, of that dark health hole I was in, was fixing my mind, taking care of those responses, and getting my nutrition in order. And all of that tingling fell away. I was actually getting chest pains at the time, and I had a doctor, which I've only been to twice in my life. One was when I collapsed from nutritional problems. And that's when I got on the whole nutrition bandwagon. But they wanted to send me to a cardiologist. They said I have a leaky valve, blah, 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 and all this stuff. And I could feel it. I can feel my body. I don't know if you guys can connect and actually feel your blood flowing, but I can. And so let me do a little bit of research on adrenal fatigue for you, Vixen. And I will be more comprehensive in the next one, the next live on Friday for you. I'm not sure if you can make that one or not, but if you don't, you can always replay it. So don't worry about that. So the beginning of that one is going to be Friday's live. We'll deal with what we can do for adrenal fatigue, what's causing it maybe, and what we can do. And if warranted, I may do a full video on it too for you that will not be alive, but it'll come later. So let me put that in my database. Actually, that one will be in the Clean Living Lab because I'm trying to separate these. So I'll notify, I'll put a note up when I have it done. I'll be on the live and I'll say it. But let me put one here for adrenal fatigue. Because I almost think I've never really done anything on that. Like I said, I healed it myself naturally, but I know my adrenals were all screwed up. But I think the subject warrants a little bit of research. So I'll give you a quickie on the Friday thing, things that you might want to try, and then I will do a more comprehensive one for us to understand the mechanism of action on adrenal fatigue, and that will be in the Clean Living Lab. MS follows malnutrition. Yeah. Are you on the Clean Living Lab, Tony? Because we can begin to tailor the content on that for what you guys need. Yes. Personally, here's my thoughts on what you just said, Tony. Is that I have always believed, not always, but for a very, very long time, it's all about energy, okay? And in MS, as you well know, your neuronal pathways are degrading. When we look at what we're putting into our bodies, I don't believe any of this BS about idiopathic. I don't believe it. When I'm putting in foods into my body, my nourishment that has been building up plastics in my brain for 50 years, 70 years, it's a given. Of course, things are building. These things are in your brain. Where's your nervous system? It starts up there. There's also, so basically what happens is you've got that neuron. I'm sure people have shown you this. I know this is kind of crude, but you have that nerve cell, right? And there's all this fat. It's lipids that are on either side of it, and it protects it. Those lipids protect it. And what happens is this crap that they're giving us and feeding us breaks down that insulation, wire insulation. It breaks that down, all these foods. It basically, if you're taking in things, okay, that are fat soluble, That means that they're being attracted. You've heard of lipophilic, maybe. That means they're being attracted to areas that are fat in your body. At first thought, that sounds great. There goes my ass, right? Boom, it's gone. But no, what it actually goes to is the fat stores. And one of the most important things in our body that is fat is that coating around our nerve cells. And when we eat things that are lipophilic, these poisons, and they go there, the toxins, and it's not just the plastics. There are many things that are lipophilic. Let me make a note to myself. Lipophilic toxins. I think that in itself should be on the clean living, because it's the myelin. Yes, exactly. The myelin sheath. You're right. So that myelin sheath is fat. And so when you're taking something that's fat soluble or lipophilic, it's actually going and it's being drawn to them, and it's degrading them as the body wants to. So then the body has got in its nerve cells, of all things, right? In its nerve cells, it's got pieces of plastic or toxins that are actually destroying and breaking down the fat. And then you have this nerve unprotected that it is just either not working anymore because it's the impulses are not shooting to one another, because, as you know, this one shoots to the next nerve cell, which shoots to the next nerve cell, and billions of them it takes in this chain, that one right after another. So when they're not being utilized, they also atrophy. So that's where we have for you is that the myelin sheaths are not only being destroyed, but the nerve cells themselves are atrophying. So that's something that we'll look. You retracted that. Don't know why you keep retracting. I hope this doesn't make you uncomfortable talking about it, because I really appreciate the conversation, and it's what I do. It's just what I do. It's because I care about you guys, but also, boy, this is really wide. The camera's kind of wide. It's showing our Starlink with the labels going back because it was such bad service. So, does it show the Starlinks? I don't know. I think it does. So anyway, I enjoy the research. My mind just is the kind of person that I can't get enough information. So please don't ever think, guys, that I'm in any way, you're being a pain or a nuisance in any way. This is what feeds my body and my soul and my brain, is to research this kind of stuff. So don't worry about that. Okay, so we've stopped on the questions. Everybody cool? Everybody great? We've gone a really long time. I'm honored that you gave this time to me, whoever's left. And so we've got one Friday. I went over the new videos coming out. I hope that I see every one of you Friday. And Tony, and I think that we've already lost, yes, the myelin sheath, exactly. I think we lost Shelly, perhaps, but maybe not. I can't tell who's on and who's not, guys. Oh, Shelly's still there. Okay. I can't tell. I'm new at this, and this was never my forte. So we'll say goodbye. We'll say we love each other, and that the energy that each of us have is being sent out to the universe, to each other, and to everyone on the planet that needs that loving, healing energy, and it's coming back to us tenfold. Okay? So, and I always like to say, when I put an intention out there, I always like to say, and so it is, because that means that it's already started. Okay, guys, I love you all so much, and I will see you Friday, and there'll be more content, and I can't wait to share Dan with you. He was an amazing soul, and I think you're really going to like him. Thank you so much. You complete me. That is corny, but it's true. I love you guys. Bye-bye. Okay, so we're going to end that.